Born in Lewisburg, Tennessee, and raised in Russellville, Arkansas, Dan Van Horn was introduced to golf while caddying for his father. It was in these moments where he learned the game and the value of hard work.
And it was when I was summoned that my dad brought me into the game. He asked me to be his caddy when I was 8 years old, and that's how we got together on the golf course. He had me involved right from the beginning because he wanted to make me engaged. So I got a part of his win. So if I did a good job as a caddy, then I can get at least 50% of his winnings. Fortunately, if he lost, I didn't have to give him anything.
After college, Van Horn moved to Maryland and stepped into the business world, learning day by day what it takes to build something.
After college, my first job after college was with Phillips Petroleum Company, selling on plastics out in Kansas. And a couple of years went by, Dad said he'd been a lifer with Rocco Manufacturing Company, but he wanted to get in his own business.
When he later moved to Virginia, the most important connection of his life wasn't a deal or a job opportunity. It was a person. It was there that he met the partner who would stand beside him through every risk, every reinvention, and every mile that followed.
I'm turning right onto a street in Alexandria, Virginia, and Dan is at the light. Our eyes meet, and I kind of flirt with him. And I turned on and went into my building. And when I went out to my car, there was a card in my car that said, "I saw you at the traffic light. You have red hair," because I did then. "I was the guy in the yellow car. Why don't we get together?" And then nothing to lose.
In 1991, he sold his business and spent a year competing on mini tours, and then served with Links Ministry, a fellowship of Christian golfers committed to encouraging and supporting pastors around the world.
I went out to the benches at the Iwo Jima Monument, Washington, D.C. area, and just asked the man about what to do with my life. And then all of a sudden I heard golf. And so I go back to my wife and I said, I think I need to be doing golf. And she said, well, you better start taking lessons.
I learned pretty quickly that that was not an easy life, and I had 2 little boys at home. Then he came home from that, realizing that wasn't the golf that he heard.
In 1995, while coaching his 8-year-old son's baseball team, Van Horn noticed how lightweight aluminum bats helped kids swing faster, and his engineering instincts immediately connected the idea to golf.
My youngest was 4, and my oldest was 7. So I had already tried to take him out to go play golf together. I'd gone in and gotten a cut-down club and give it to him, and it was fun. So I kind of left him alone. I was coaching him in youth baseball, and I saw the lighter weight bat starting to come in, and I saw the kids being able to swing them faster.
In 1996, Van Horn founded U.S. Kids Golf. His first ultralight kids clubs shipped in 1997, designed in sizes that fit young players and made the swing feel natural.
If I could make the driver weight or the kids club driver weight lighter, that I would have something for kids that would be a lot easier for them to swing. And so that's what we've done.
Early days were difficult. As the company grew, the operations required more cash, requiring sacrifices from the Van Horn family.
When you go from nothing to all of a sudden you have a business, and pretty soon you're out of money. But I was actually getting growing, because what you have to do if you want to grow sales, let's say they're doubling next year, is you have to go back to buy more inventory. So the challenge of buying more inventory, taking your cash and not being able to own it to yourself to improve your life, it gets to be challenging at times.
Then came the bigger vision. U.S. Kids Golf was not just clubs and equipment. In 2000, U.S. Kids Golf launched its first World Championship at Jekyll Island. What started with a few hundred players quickly became a global destination for junior golf.
Because the tournaments will, make the name stronger, and the kids need competition because the kids get better when they compete. We had Little League Baseball, but there was no Little League Golf.
I mean, that was such a revolutionary idea at the time, but people didn't think of it, but Dan did.
Through the U.S. Kids Golf Foundation, tournaments, player development, and coach education expanded worldwide. Dan created a pathway for kids to fall in love with the game and a community built around family, joy, and growth.
Our first world championship was at Jekyll Island in 2000. And remember, we had a family come from Japan that had missed their tee time. And so they'd spent $20,000 getting there. And so the rule was going to be disqualification. And I told Dan, I don't think we can do that. Like that would be so unfair. And so we had to, on the fly, kind of come up with kids' rules. We made golf kid friendly, and Dan has had that front row seat to do that. I've seen him interact with parents and kids on tough situations. His compassion comes through with that.
He's a great leader, and his purpose on earth, really, the way I see it, is to grow golf. I hear it all the time. U.S. Kids Golf, Dan, changed my life.
Today, U.S. Kids Golf is the world's leading provider of youth golf equipment and hosts more than 1,500 tournaments each year, welcoming young players from across the country and around the world into meaningful competition.
Millions of families out there that their lives have been changed because of what he's created. You know, they go to these events and these kids meet kids from around the world. Families meet families from around the world, and they form these lasting relationships that they're going to have the rest of their lives.
The mission statement that he created it permeates our business. The U.S. Kids Golf mission is to help kids have fun learning the lifelong game of golf, encouraging family interaction that builds lasting memories. And he lives that every single day.
But Van Horn's legacy isn't measured in tournament counts or product lines. It's measured in access. He helped introduce golf to millions of young players, teaching the values of the game, bringing families together, and giving kids skills they'll carry for life.
He's a man of faith, and he's compassionate, and he has lots of confidence what he does, and sometimes so much confidence that I think he's making a mistake, but he always seems to make the right play. He goes for par fives and 2 and pulls it off.
And now his impact is recognized in the Georgia Golf Hall of Fame. But for Dan, this moment has never been only about him. It's about every young player who picked up a club and finally felt like the game was made for them.
So important for us to give to the rest of the world and bring them into the game. It's particularly meaningful being in Georgia, and the history that's here for Bobby Jones and Nancy Lopez and Davis Love III. Everything that I've done with U.S. Kids Golf is here in Georgia, and for you guys to take the time to honor me means a lot.